I guess. Well, how about it's the end of America? America is now officially over. Who says so? Our next guest, Charles Hurt, Washington Times columnist. Hello, sir.
Howdy, Steve.
Great to talk to you. I was so happy to see your column today because I've been feeling all along like I'm a lone voice. Every sports talk show I put on, we have the technology. Oh, it's progress. What are you, in the Stone Ages? And what we're talking about, of course, is that Major League Baseball next year will expand the use of instant replay to where they give 2 challenges in the first 6 innings, and then I think 2 more in the next 2 innings or 3 innings. I can't believe they're doing it, and you wrote a brilliant piece today on it in the Washington Times.
But it's amazing. In my understanding of it is, if the manager gets each complaint right, then they keep getting more complaints. So if you're really good at it, if you're like the Al Sharpton of baseball managers, you can complain about every single call that gets made.
Yeah, you keep going. You get bonuses for being right. You get penalized for being wrong.
Yeah, and I have to admit that I'm a late. I've come to baseball as a later in life. Actually, with my children, my young children, learning to play baseball, and learning it as an adult. I came to appreciate just how incredibly valuable baseball is in teaching children that life is not fair, and there are things that don't go your way, and everybody tries to make it fair and tries to make it go your way, but you have to minimize when unfairnesses happen. You have to minimize them, and you have to put them aside and move on and focus on winning the game or winning whatever it is you're doing. And this upends all of that, because forever baseball has been about walking it off. But now that we have institutionalized a method of complaining and whining about what we perceive are unfair calls, I think it just completely, totally perverts baseball away from what you and I love about it.
It does, and of course, balls and strikes will be off. You can't do that. You can't approach a ball and strike call. That can't be replayed. But
I don't know why. Why stop there? Why not go ahead and just set up remove the umpire and
put a machine there. Put a machine. It beeps when it's a strike, and it's a computer, and there's no mistakes. You're absolutely right. And here's the thing. It happens in as you point out in your column. It happens in football. In hockey, if there's a disputed goal, it goes to Toronto. There's some guy or guys sitting in Toronto, and they have TVs with all the games on it, and they view the replay over and over, and they make the decision. We've gotten to timeouts now in the NBA, where replay timeouts, where you could challenge a certain point, and it's so unfair. You know how valuable timeouts are in basketball. Well, you could challenge, and it gives that team that might need a timeout. And we've gone completely nuts. And now I say to everybody, I'm a purist. I don't like the designated hitter. I like the pitcher batting. And here you got the human element being taken out of this game. It's made by people who make mistakes. It's made by people who, they're great. If they fail 7 out of 10 times, they're still considered great hitters. So if an umpire makes a mistake, live with it. Move on. No, we have to go to the instant replay. It's going to kill the game.
Yeah, and I get kind of confused about how exactly they're going to do it, because of course the umpires aren't going to, as you point out, it goes to New York. They're not going to leave the field and the way they do when they do the replay on say a ball, whether a ball goes out of the stadium or not.
Right.
So what does that mean? Are umpires now going to be wearing those goofy headphones and earpieces? Are they going to, or is it going to be like hockey, where they stick the telephone receiver through the
little hole, the photographer's hole?
Yeah, and then word from Oz is going to be sort of passed down, and then that the whole nature that you're going outside of the stadium. The stadium is a really it's such a beautiful spot where the rest of the world doesn't invade. You're not Democrats, you're not Republicans, you're not liberal, everybody's just there because they love this extraordinary game, and all the outside forces slip away. But suddenly we are now all going to be sitting there waiting for the perceived truth to come down from New York City to see whether or not the outfielder caught the ball.
And by the way, Charles, I know a lot of people have been clamoring because baseball games are much too short. So this will lengthen the games because we need more time spent in baseball games,
Yeah. And you watch, Steve. I'll bet you any amount of money, Steve, that somehow or another MLB will figure out a way to make this, shall we call it, an advertising
I
opportunity.
knew you were going to say that. Look, you listen to any baseball game, and you're new to it, so I don't know how many you watch, but everything is sponsored.
Yeah.
The pitching change is sponsored. The lineup is sponsored. The scoreboard is sponsored, and there are different scoreboards. Everything. They're going to say this video replay, maybe not MLB, maybe MLB, but maybe the team, certainly, the broadcast, this instant replay timeout is brought to you by, and I could come up with something right now, some video company or whatever, but you know it. You know it.
When they do the pitching change, at least at National Stadium, when they do the pitching change, it's always brought to you by UPS. Okay, like they're delivering a package.
They should drive them in a UPS truck.
Yeah, and so this will be some sort of, it'll be brought to you by a laxative or something like that. It's something to give you a little more, just a little pause in the game here.
Oh, gosh, it's bad news. I'm not looking forward to it at all, not at all. And it's bad enough in the World Series and stuff. And people say, don't you want to get it right? No, I mean, yes, but it's a game played by humans. Just have raw, you know what? Let's have the computer matchups of these games. That you know how that works. We could find out who's supposed to win the Super Bowl based on what the computer says. Let's have every baseball game or the computer game instead of humans.
Exactly. Why don't we? I mean, these danged players. They're not perfect. Let's just replace all the players with robots.
Yeah,
they won't make mistakes.
No steroids. No steroids either.
Yeah, we won't because it'll be so good we won't even need steroids.
Yeah, that's true.
I think we're onto something here.
We might be. And your kids, let me ask you. I know you have young kids. Do they play? Do they have a winning team and a losing team when they play?
Oh, you better believe it.
All right. Well, how old are they? How old are they?
They're 7. The boys are 7 and 9.
All right, 9 I could see, but I didn't know if 7. My son started travel at 7, but I know that there's T-ball, and then even the first level up after T-ball, I remember. So I guess he was 6 or so. You just run around the base, everybody gets on, nobody gets out, nobody wins, nobody loses. That was awful. Awful.
Yeah, I got lucky and we missed all that. But what was tough was when they started, they were on both of them were on a really, really good team, and they won every game. And they really worked at it. But it was a little disturbing to me because that's not exactly life. And then I guess it was last year or maybe the year before, they wound up on teams that would lose, and they would lose a lot, and it was a wonderful experience for them. Because they were so disappointed when they would lose.
Absolutely.
They would hold themselves to standards, and they knew that it didn't really matter whether they lost, but they had standards and they wanted to win, and it killed them to lose.
Yes, no, hey, and it's healthy. It's healthy to feel victory. It's healthy to feel defeat. No, none of this nonsense where nobody, nothing's kept. We don't keep score. We don't keep averages. We don't give game balls because we don't want to offend anybody. But that's a rarity what you're saying, because in a lot of jurisdictions, even an old Everyone Loves Raymond that I was watching, which had to be made almost 20 years ago or 15, 20 years ago, they had a whole episode about how the kids, no scores kept, nobody wins, nobody's out, nobody's safe, just crazy stuff. We're all nuts, Charles. We're all nuts.
Yeah. And the sad thing about it is that these parents and people, they think that they're somehow doing these children a favor or something, and what they're doing actually is setting them up for a crushing disappointment about life, and a crushing disappointment when they realize that they're actually terrible at what they have been deluded into thinking they're good at. all their lives.
No, absolutely. So beside the great piece that you wrote, we're talking to Charles Hurt here on the Steve Malzberg Show, Washington Times. We've had some news today, certainly on a lot of fronts. We had Manning sentencing. We had the Syrian, the Syrian chemical attack. But I'd also like to talk about this NSA. And the revelations that are posted on Drudge, the headlines, just look at the headlines. NSA collected thousands of Internet communications with no terror connection. NSA can spy on 75% of online traffic. NSA retains content of emails between citizens. And if NSA domestic phone calls made via Internet, I guess they spy on the domestic phone calls made via Internet. And Homeland Security is now testing for a face scanning kind of thing.
How creepy is that?
Every day it gets creepier. Now, look, I'm all for security, but I think I've said this to you in the past. If our government is not willing to take a known terrorist face and stick it underwater if it might save American lives to get information, yet they're willing to collect all this information on me, I don't buy that.
Yeah, that's a great point. They really are trying to kind of have it both ways, and it's crazy. But the other thing is, I agree with you. I'm not sure. I mean, I love to I think it's important for people like you and me to kick up a storm whenever these stories come out about the degrees to which the NSA is going to collect our information, domestic surveillance. And I don't know, I know that there are arguments that can be made that those things are very important and they're very valuable. Well, that's fine. Maybe they are. But if they're not able to explain to dumb guys like you and me why they need this information, then they shouldn't be gathering it. And, we can understand it if they lay it out there. But the Obama administration has done absolutely nothing to try to convince people that this is as important as they seem to think it is.
Yeah, no, absolutely nothing is correct, and it goes every day. It gets worse and worse. One final thing here: what's your take on the sentencing of Manning? You talk about truth in sentencing. 35 years. The prosecution in the trial wanted 60. He could have got 90, so he gets 35. He gets 4 off because he served 4 already, basically. He's been in captivity for 4, and he only has to serve 1/3 of the sentence. So he's going to be out. They say 8 years. I don't know how they get 8 out of that, but to me it's 10. But either way, a slap on the wrist for what he did. He'll be 32 years old. He'll be walking around. Yeah,
no, it really is extraordinary. And again, if all of this, this surveillance stuff is so important to our security, and I'm not saying it's not. It very well may be, but if it is, then you have to take things like this very, very seriously because this is the kind of stuff that goes to the heart of what this whole intelligence gathering and maintenance program is all about. And the same goes for Snowden. If they can't do a better job of first of all giving a guy like that the kind of access that he had to information, but then also to just so miserably fail at figuring out how to deal with him after the fact, they've got to get serious about it.
Yeah. All right, Charles, as always, it's a pleasure to talk to you, my friend. Keep playing ball with those kids, and we'll speak to you next week.
Sounds great, Steve. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Charles Hurt, ladies and gentlemen.